How do?
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
My T-shirts would say I survived chapter 16 to 21.
I love the swag. Rockaz Book Club.
Indeed, Rockaz Book Club, Ravens.
Love it.
Antonio,
Love
how
it.
you be?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to be back with you all this
Yes.
time around. It's good to be counted in the number.
Hey,
Amen?
Saints.
How the song goes? That's something to be in that number. Oh,
Yes.
Why are you trying to expose me?
sorry. When the
It's been
Saints
quite,
were meeting.
quite some time since I was sainting.
Go marching in.
So what is good or exciting for each of you before we get into the book? That's drama.
So I have a lot going on.
Oh
And
yes, you had a thing yesterday. Yes.
it was lovely. You know, it's nice when a simple thing blossoms into. So Book of Eden did this UNESCO Jamaica supported commemoration of World Copyright Day, and they called it Book Talk, and it was 5 of us, and it was just lovely.
Okay.
It was just lovely. The reading, the sharing, the energy. Yeah, it was a bigger gift than I expected it to be. So
Okay.
that, in addition to have a documentary screening tomorrow for my
Right.
documentary about Black hair discrimination. I'm working on a project with some Calabar boys. I'm working with a school band and 20 students, and it just is so fulfilling. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful. The sun is too hot. The sun in Jamaica is going on as if it is July.
Wow.
So I am concerned about what summer going to hold. People climate change is real, like the John Crows in John Crow's Devil.
Well, the sun here has not decided that it wants to be. It keeps changing its mind. But anyway, we'll get to that. Yeah.
So me good, grateful, happy to be here.
Awesome. What about you, Antonio?
No, likewise. I'm happy to be here. I did something yesterday. I pushed back against all kind of colonial cultural bindings. I got a tattoo.
Oh,
Right. And I grew up, just hearing from both my parents, there's a
never.
you don't mark up your body,
Yes.
you can't
Use a brand wheel.
right. And so I felt like another level of adultness growth.
Nice. That's how I felt when I pierced my ears because
Like
Power to the people.
yeah.
laying down the things that are binding. And it was a tattoo that I got in commemoration of my friend who transitioned recently, my sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was really
Where did you get it?
It's here.
Did it hurt?
The process of doing it was painful, but not in the sense of like, you feel like you're gonna, jump out of your skin.
Yeah. I hear it depends on where. I hear some places are really painful.
So what I'm saying.
And others it's like an annoying kind of,
Yeah, and then it hasn't hurt since,
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
You're a good tattoo artist.
Apparently, yeah. So that
you have good skin. Hope
Hey, come on.
Born with it.
There you go.
Brown skin boy.
I've thought of when I was in Spain because some of them were saying, "Oh, let's get tattoos to commemorate," because we studied in Spain and in Valencia, and I didn't because I still had that thing. I just don't want to mark up. But no, you're getting older. I was like, who cares?
Who cares?
It might be nice.
Maybe I should. My birthday is amazing. Maybe I should praise my other ear.
Do it. I did both.
Because I did this when I was in New York, and a friend had to come and so I was like, it's gonna hurt. They had to go to blue.
It never hurt at all.
It did
Done.
not
Finish. Yeah.
did not
So
hurt.
that happened. It was really beautiful.
Good.
Nice.
And then
Nice.
coming up this week, I travel and I'm going to be doing some work with the foundation, the Valerie J. Maynard Foundation in Baltimore. So we're back, continue to do the inventory cataloging work, and it's been great because we got a fellowship from Cara that comes with a cash award, but also technical support. So that's really huge for the foundation. So
Nice.
that work is very
Nice.
fruit. And then I'll also be doing some work Georgetown, helping them plan and implement a new educational theater initiative. So I'm gonna
Niceness.
pilot it for a year, and so I've been
Oh,
tapped
nice.
to start this thing, and so
Mhm.
excited about that as well. So
Niceness.
yeah, because progress needs to continue.
Hey, come
Yeah.
on. And look where you are.
Mhm.
And Michael, you?
Well, I'm just I forgot about this. So I had a chance to have lunch with, not really lunch, but to hang out with Lettucey for a little bit. Um,
Hey, hey.
she was a artist in residence at Berkeley for for the past 2 years.
What?
And when she just started, we had a little meeting as well, and it was nice just to talk with her about her experience teaching, and and being with the students. She came in I think once a month and worked with different students and some ensembles and that kind of thing.
Is she as nice as she appears to be?
She's a genuine sweetheart,
That's what I've heard. Oh, and
so
that
real,
voice.
so real. Yeah,
Voice.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that was good. That was nice.
Nice.
And it's 2 more weeks coming up of teaching, and then 1 week of exams, and then the semester's done. Yay!
Oh, yeah, why you remember I have two sets of papers to back. I'm behind. I'm a delinquent lecturer.
Shame on you. I don't do that thing. I don't do that delinquency thing at all, because once the semester's done, I want my grades in so I can leave it behind.
Yes, I'm gonna have to double up. We have time, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not usually behind, but I am.
Okay. Okay.
We're gonna fix that.
Yes.
But
And
I'm a good Christian soldier marching us to war.
very good. So yeah.
Well,
Apart from
I
that,
mean,
that's
John
it.
Crow reminds us, it may not necessarily be a good thing to be a good Christian soldier.
Do you know?
I'm sorry,
Yes.
Michael, you were saying something. Else.
Well, I mean, just on what you're saying, and nowadays, and I'm always very hesitant to even say what it is I mean, but I'm gonna I'll say it veiled. Nowadays, even more so in the news, you can see it's not always a good thing to be a good Christian soldier, because there's so many Christian soldiers, and they're anyway
Yeah.
confounded. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, and then the summer we'll get to that when it reaches.
Indeed.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, man.
So, John Crow's Devil, it feel like things are ramping up.
They are. They
Let's
are.
let's look at chapter 16. I mean, because we're talking before and trying to figure out, because as we in our discussions in the audiobook, there's no names for the chapters, just numbers. But in the book, there are no numbers, just names. So we kind of have to be going, okay, wait, 1, 2, 3,
Did
4.
you?
So chapter 16 was Lucinda, our favorite.
Oh,
Well, one of our favorites, because she's
look
rich,
here.
rich in history and story and action and everything else.
Yeah. And the pulling the screen to see what made her the
And
journey. Because
what
her
a
mother, her
just
mother, her mother.
horrible life.
Mm.
I hear the way and the way she spoke to her, the things she said to her.
Yes.
Oh wow! I
But
found
listen,
myself really a feeling for Lucinda, feeling and thinking about the weight of carrying her story and what it made her, but also a kind of there's a tenacity that she has. There's a thing
mhm.
that's very interesting.
But first, I mean, in terms of what made her, her mother was an Obi woman and a prostitute.
Hmm.
So that's a exciting combination of things
Rather,
to begin with.
Right.
yes.
And then her mouth, the thing she'd say like is like razors, especially directed at poor Lucinda, little
Mhm.
girl Lucinda,
Yeah,
completely messed her up.
It
completely.
messed her up, but it makes it, and not but, it messed her up, and it makes me wonder, what is it that allows certain people who grow up in similar circumstances
To yes,
to not become the thing that the parent was,
Right.
and to
yes,
choose to
yes.
become something different? Like they use that, like for instance, my mother used to talk about the reason why she made some of her choices in her life And it was made some of the choices in her life because she didn't want to be the thing that she was exposed to.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So
some people become conscious and present to that
yeah.
and deliberately go in the other direction.
But not Lucinda.
But no, she embraced it in some way.
Yeah, and then and it's funny, as you said, Antonio, I've always been and still am fascinated with serial killers.
I don't know why.
My question always is, if we are normal, what happened with them to make them, like have bodies under your house and the house has stink and the, even Jeffrey Dahmer. And one of the things that I remember is, he did all his interviews because he was very chatty. And he did some with his father sitting beside him. And he talked about the psychosexual, and I found myself thinking about that with Lucinda. And I said the way she started to say, I'm clear that there's night Lucinda and day Lucinda, and I'm going to embrace, because originally she was guilty, and then she said, you know what? I'm not guilty again. But she was conscious and clear of the distinction and had no problem doing the church things that they had her health thing. It was an interesting choice. Lucinda.
It sounds like Night Lucinda is fighting tooth and nail to take over. Because even the whipping's not really keeping her at bay. Because presently she's a tangled ball of lust for for the apostle. No, sir. But even before, because everybody man she want.
I love the. I'm gonna pretend that I'm bathing you first, and then it's just gonna feel you up.
Exactly.
Let me bathe you.
Yeah, but I think that the thing. I mean, it's interesting that it's in her latter years, right? That the Dark Lucinda version has been coalesced and condensed into this physical sexual energy.
Yes.
This wanting, this needing, the need to be wanted and loved and embraced and treasured, right? So she was, the things that were easy for her to get rid of was that all the things attached to Obia, she was, let me throw away these bottles, let me throw away these skins, let me throw these things that have been preserved in vinegar that are causing the smell that is, I'm reeking, right? Like that stuff she was easy to get rid of. But this idea of the tactile, sensual nature of things. And it's interesting because it's like, I think what came across for me, particularly around the two sides of the light and the dark allowed her freedom and control. Where in the light, Lucinda, she never had the opportunity to have freedom and control.
No, she was subservient, a minion in the light.
Exactly. So
and she reminded of that.
Yeah. And it gave her power, and she saw that I can have power.
Yes.
Through my body, I can have power through plant medicine or roots, or dealing with things of the spirit that other people may not have access to. It makes me special. It makes me different,
Yeah.
And so I think it's fascinating to just kind of pick her apart in that way and just to peel back the layers of who she is and what's left behind as an adult. She's still like, which comes up for me when she when the widow goes to the church to speak with the apostle. And the two of them have this moment. I can't remember what chapter that is, but the two of them have this moment. And you can, and what Marlon writes is that, they both are reflecting on the last time that they met, which were as girls, young girls.
Yes.
And both of them are living that moment, and to sort of see how different or how the same they are, how present childhood is in them.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So this I guess it might be the next chapter, the recovery, because the apostle and the rum preacher, they had a little bit of a face off or something.
Another one.
Another face off. But this was a powerful face off because the two of them knock each other out in some way.
Mm.
They were out for days.
Yeah.
And then they had to, their women, their women collected them and tended to them
Yeah.
for a little while. Wow.
There's something interesting about the weaving of these stories and the images and and also the way the apostle speaks, the way he speaks,
Mm-hmm.
and you see the wounds closing up and they rump each other back, and it's the way certain things literally jump out at you in the way he describes them.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that I find myself going ooh quite a few times in this section. And
But
also the casual way, like even the drowning of Lucinda's mother, here she couldn't catch her breath at it, and Lucinda's foot was on her head. I was like, what? He just said at the end of the sentence, and I was like, oh my god, she killed it. I found that, I said, wow, what a choice. Does this guy would say, oh my god, she drowned. She passed and she drowned, and because her foot was on her.
exactly.
And even how he describes the body when it's found.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like this mangled, pummeled thing,
Yes.
rough water. It's just.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with the girl on the cliff. He said that she erupted like a tomato.
Yes. That's what I meant.
That made me go, ooh. Yeah.
I guess it was quite a fall, isn't it?
Quite a fall.
Yes.
But, I mean, it's not as violent, but in terms of the physical sense, but the dismissive nature of her personhood when she describes the sexual encounter in the cemetery, like she's just used.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's almost ritual. It felt like it was almost some kind of a ritual for her.
That's Clarence, and she said she wanted the cemetery. She said no. And then remember the same thing with Greenfoot in the river. Right.
Widow's husband.
Used and the men in this are awful.
Mm-hmm. I think it goes both ways, right? Like she doesn't have a frame of reference about what
she does
actually a healthy sexual relationship or the understanding of what intimacy can be with not just with other people, but even with herself. Right. And so when she's watched her mother be intimate in ways that is transactional, that she has no understanding.
Because she said three men a week, sometimes more, right?
Guys.
Yes. Yeah. It's chilling. It's chilling the storytelling. I found in this section, I was very present to but yet there's an ease in the way Marlon writes it that I think for me adds to the chilling. Like what? Yeah, and I find myself, and I think I might do this before we do the next episode. I want to go back and kind of chart the journey from the beginning to where we are now, and the symbolism, the imagery, the things that the manifestations. And I find myself thinking, how were they living? How were the people in Gibeah, even the people, the characters we don't know, what was their experience while these things were going on? Kids were going to school normally. I found myself thinking, pick me up to school also. And or is it just that this is the norm in this space, or was there a discernible shift with the coming of the apostle and this whole thing now? And how were the people living, even outside of the ones that we're told about? I found myself thinking about that. What was life, or is life like in this place?
Yeah, it really just it feels like it's this own little microcosm. Even though there's things, because some of the people live just outside of Gibeah, but they're a part of Gibeah. But it feels like this stuff is just happening here. And these are the normal things that happen.
And last week we said Lost, that show.
Yes, that show, right? Exactly.
Salem's Lot.
Yes.
It's concentrated in the rest of the world and the way I go on. It's this thing happening right here.
But I also got a little confirmation. Remember when we were talking about the red and black books, and I was suggesting that he was talking about the lesser keys of Solomon. But he mentions that no about the books that's other books written by Solomon. So when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, so it is that. It is those books of witchcraft and magic and stuff that the apostle is working with. And the other thing, because in when maybe it's in the Bible, I'm not sure, but sometimes you when you have works and miracles, you have to discern where whether they're of God or of something else, because they can look the same. And that's what you're seeing with the healing that's happening with the apostle when he brings a man that they all whipped before him heal him up. But it brings a man where they all whipped and heals all his wounds, and they're almost it feels like snakes. The wounds are healed, but you also see the rum preacher being healed when he's once the widow take him back and he's going through his night sweats and his fever dreams and his whatnot. And he's also being healed. But we still don't know. They could both be evil. They could both be good. We don't know. We don't know yet.
There's something that struck me, and it came up for me when you were Fabian, when you were just talking about really wanting to go back from the beginning and sort of chart some of the themes, some of the symbols that happen throughout. And something that's been coming up for me is this idea of spirit and the John Crow. Because I don't always know whose side the John Crows are on. Are they evil? Are they vengeful on the side of a God who's watching and active? Are they part of nature and just kind of feeding in?
Are they observers? Are they
create balance? Like I don't know, but I did want to just read this passage. And this particular passage happens. This is in the recovery chapter, but it's this limbo. Hey, Shauna K.
Welcome.
It's in this limbo space
You're
of
muted.
understanding that the widow is in. And I think that she's such a great example of that because she's had so much loss so early. Her faith, she's like a recovering addict. She's like, will I be able to get some faith back? Do I want it back? Do I need it? Was it, But otherwise, I just want to these questions that she's having in relationship to her faith and just how Marlon just verses. Just this once, the widow wished she knew the things of the spirit. Perhaps then an angel would come and tell her what had happened. She was a woman of reason, bitter though it was. He should be at a hospital, and she's talking about the rum preacher. She said to herself, but that was impossible. There was only this bed, hot water, and hope. She would not pray. That morning, while she washed his body, he looked like a child interrupted. There was innocence, promise, and waste. She cried for a man who could not cry back. She washed his hair, rubbed his wrinkles, scrubbed his chest's curly white hairs, and washed his feet. He lay on the bed still. Maybe he too would rise on the third day. The widow could only hope. She would not pray. At the window, she saw the church and the Garvey house. Both rooftops were covered with John Crows. And it's one of the rare moments of pregnant possibility that feels sweet. You know what I mean? Like there's a tenderness that happens. There's an innocence in this moment of just really fighting for his life, fighting for her own inner life as well. Like who will I be on the other side? Who can I can't even, it's that kind of thing where you're like, when the elders will go like, you just got to pray on it. Right. Saying to my mother, I was at a low point one point. I was just like, I can't pray for myself. She's like, no, whoa. You can always pray for yourself. Right. And Lucin, the widow seems to be in this place of like, I can only hope. I can't pray.
I can't pray.
But even in that defeatedness, she is taking care of this man. She doesn't know but she knows this is the thing to do. Like I'm gonna walk in faith. She doesn't even know she's walking a faith walk.
Yeah.
I just thought that passage was
And
so
she's grieving for him.
Yeah.
While cleansing his body. Yeah, that section was uncharacteristically tender.
Yeah.
I remember there was a tenderness. It's almost like the other stuff paused for a second, and then the John Crow's outside observing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lucinda does the same for the apostle, right? Even though hers is a little tainted or feels a little tainted.
Lucinda, so
that tainted is their middle name.
But we needed this reprieve because when that apostle comes back, he is full on Old Testament. Like he goes, it's wild.
Yeah.
How you doing, Shauna K?
Oh, I'm all right. You know me, guys. You know me, audience. We're doing something. I made it on the show in time. Yeah. What are we talking about? Lucinda's obsession?
Yeah. Among other things.
Lucinda-ness of it all. Lucinda versus Night Lucinda.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I think I was telling you guys that I said I actually appreciate and prefer Night Lucinda. I just think that's who she is.
Okay.
Please speak more, because we were talking earlier and I was just like, that Night Lucinda allowed her to have power and freedom,
right,
in ways like what I'm curious about your perspective as a female body.
I mean, well, probably the same. I think one of the things is that her mother taught her to be dual. Her mother taught her to wear the mask, and so her mother had survived. But I think if she allowed herself to be Night Lucinda right through the day, I think she'd be a more powerful character, a more powerful person. I think her true power lies in that, because I think that's her genuine and authentic self. And I know she loves the church, but I also think that is how she has made herself survive in that world and survive in that village. But I guess she didn't get I don't want to say if it's the privilege, or she didn't get the stuff that her mom got from being at night, the night version, because mommy used to read people. Mommy was an obvious woman, I think, if I'm remembering it properly. But I don't recall, or let me know if I'm wrong. Lucinda never took on that work. Lucinda didn't become a reader for people. People didn't come to Lucinda. I think Lucinda kind of just used it for her own stuff. Maybe she's in
a dispatcher of people.
Yes.
Right. So I don't think there was any. I don't know if Lucinda saw any merit in being that version of herself. Whereas her mother, I think, and again, to be fair, from what I pick up, I think her mother is really kind of who gave her the toxic reality of what the night want, is. So Lucinda didn't embrace it as much. But I think I would have loved to see that version. Maybe by the end of the book, I mean, I'm like chapter 22 now. Maybe by the end of the book, she will become that version of herself right throughout, and that would be lovely. But I'm not sure yet.
Mm-hmm. Before you came out, I was saying that when the first thing with this classmate that bust like a tomato, and the mother say, "The seal." Some ingredients, and she say you acquired the taste for blood, and the mother called. She said, "See you I do," and like you said, and it's that lurking in the shadows, and so it's that interesting thing of, like you said, I'm gonna own this, as dysfunctional as it is. She said to Clarence, "Come, I mean, you what? Don't it come? Mr. Greenfield, come." and the meaning thing, but she's naming it and claiming it. And then, as Antonia said earlier, when I mentioned it, like the Night Lucinda, you almost like the wings spreading and taking over, like falling into step, and the shame falling away, and her being very aware of the duality of Day Cinder versus Night Cinder, and then saying, "Me like over yourself."
Yes, yes.
Like over here, so yeah, it's interesting.
I don't even think. So I think if she was, so the way in which she is authentically herself as Night Lucinda, if she had been that way as Jay Lucinda, it probably would have made her a better Christian. Because I just think she's playing a role. And it's probably the sense of the apostle that she even gravitated towards. But then, apostle is also a night man. So with those black and red books.
Right. But you were talking, I think, as well, Antonio. I think you had mentioned earlier today about her never having gotten that tenderness, never understood by the relationship. But as Shauna and Fabian were talking, I remember there was like a moment when she was calling Clarence over and they were doing their thing, where she was moving in to try and get that tenderness, but Clarence never wasn't having it, and him kind of said, he just wanted to do the thing and leave, and that's what he did. And then that was her moment, and it was gone just like that.
And
Yeah,
she
that
didn't know
woman
that.
did her.
She tried to kiss him.
Mm.
She went
Mm-hmm.
to rest on him, and he was just like, I forgot that Mike. Twice she made these overtures of tenderness
Yeah.
after the act, and Clarence was not having it.
Mm.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, not but that's what happens, even in sort of our contemporary world, right? Like to us as humans in these bodies, if nobody teaches us how to love and respect this thing just for ourselves, how to treat it with sacred joy when you're engaged with other people, like when you don't have those exchanges, you have no frame of reference,
Mm.
then because all she's seen is like what her mother's been doing,
Right.
or what nature has been doing,
Right.
and so she, it's like it's almost like she's like damned from the very beginning, what I mean, and on all aspects, right? Like how to exist in her body as a human, but also just even in terms of like the teaching of this practice of using obia, work that in a way that can be good for her life and good for her community,
Mm-hmm.
not just this other side of it, right? Like her mother never sat down to teach her.
No.
At least I didn't get that sense, right?
No.
So she learned what she learned by watching what her mother did. There's no explanations. There's no understanding.
No.
There's no,
And the mother kind of goading, I see you like the blood. That was it. Not let me show you what else it can do. Yeah.
Or correct her or discipline her or tell her like, hey, you can't be doing those things.
Yeah.
Or
no censure.
You know what I mean? Or if you do, these are the consequences, right?
Yeah.
Like, so yes, people will die, but like a piece of your soul will be lost, right? Possibly, like whatever it is, she never got the fullness of those teachings.
No.
And I think in a way that's a very Caribbean way of being, both masculine and feminine, but definitely there are good amounts of, I think, Caribbean women, and you see that often, I think, in a lot of literary novels and so on, where there's just a tenderness that Caribbean women did not get because their mothers did not have it to give them, and so they don't learn it to give to their daughters. And maybe it's not until way back, in the end of a story or something at a very big moment that the tenderness happens, or you're like, I didn't know. And I think it happens a lot with a Caribbean woman character. And maybe that's why, there's always the comparative to the soft white woman or the soft, kind of gentler upper woman that black women do all the time. We never learn it. They never give it to us. You just don't know. And they spend a lot of time, I think when you read a lot of novels that talk about the sexualization of the black body, whether the masculine or the feminine or whatever. And it's like this assumption of sexuality being akin to softness, because that's the only time there's a vulnerability or anything that's allowed on the black body. I don't know if you guys know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, from Lucinda, but That's the only softness that I think sometimes blackness or the black body knows, which of course we know is not softness.
Right.
It's sex, but it's the only it's the tenderness that we're never allowed really that you see oftentimes. And as you were saying, Fabian, she really attempted that because I do remember that moment. And then because Clarence was absolutely not interested in just he was like, listen, I can use you right now because you're an opportunity. After that, I think she was just like, mm. And she learned how to be helpful. So her tenderness for Apostle was that's where her femininity stopped.
Mm.
That was it. And also, as you said, that is the oh God, what's the name of my other girl there now? Um, who the other room teacher is now in her house?
The widow.
Widow.
All right, catching out the Buddha style. Her femininity and her softness, although we get to see when she was just in her own thoughts, kind of going, I need a man's touch, and he's there. Her softness came out in service. Those moments where she just appreciated him eating all the food. And that's where the softness for him entered, is her going, oh, I'm useful again as a woman. That was her softness. Her softness was, I don't like you, I shouldn't like you, I feel sorry for you, but I'm going to cook for you. And she cooked lavish breakfasts and meals for him. I made note of that in terms of how the femininity of these women were expressed in those things. Service, sex. That's it.
Shauna, that's very interesting. It's making me wonder. I started asking the question of myself. Well, regardless of gender, where do we show our softness? How do we get to enact that? When do we feel like it's most necessary, to perform that? And often it is in relationship to others. It's not often when we're by ourselves. It happens within community and definitely an intimate partnership. But it often is about service. Like, how do I support, help, nurture somebody or something outside of myself, or sex?
But I'll speak for me that but I think it probably is true for some others of us here too. That in our intimate, and I use intimate in a different way than sexual, in our intimate friend groups, we do show this softness with each other when we are together, and it's not just about service. It's about enjoying each other's company and conversations and stories and that kind of thing. I've enjoyed that a lot, growing up, but also even with family, spending time with cousins or with my siblings. Even if I was the youngest one, and I was never always welcomed. Eventually, you know, you know how it goes. But eventually, and now, there's a definite closeness and internet I have with siblings, even though we're far apart, and we
Right.
call, and it's just like so. We have it in, or let me say, I I have it in
Yeah.
certain, you know.
Yeah, I was just curious. It was just a thought that came up, like
Yeah.
how we define
No, it's
But
funny
it's
because our expression of the softness is different. Because even Mike, when you think about our friend group, other cultures outside of Black Caribbean cultures or Caribbean as a culture in itself, Black culture could be an a culture of itself. So when I'm saying this, I do mean in the Caribbean, whatever, all the Caribbean.
Mhm.
People who don't understand our culture will hear us greet each other and say, no man. So term of enjoyment for a Caribbean person looks like Ducky Dog when I say this long time.
Yeah.
This is the way in which we, because if somebody is a fly on the wall listening to our friend circle, if you don't catch us in those very soft moments,
Mhm.
we're absolutely in an entanglement of intimacy and love that can sound very harsh to the untrained ear.
True.
Yeah,
True.
and I
Yeah.
mean, to be honest, I've always struggled with that. The terseness, the roughness in our affection. I mean, when I was teaching at Arden, one time we had this really interesting discussion with my drama club, especially the senior people that said, "We don't talk to each other so harshly." I kept kicking in your face, and they said, "But sir, she know me, don't me." I said, "But there's violence in the language, though." And they were like, "No, man, sir, we know." And it was interesting, and we weren't getting it, and it was like 2 days later they came back because they'd walk to Halfway Tree together, and they said, "Sir, we're talking, and you're right, but we're so used to it." They said we started to unpack some of the things we say to each other in jest and in love, and he said, "Sir, it rough," but it was so interesting. And they said we weren't aware, and and they said, "You're right, sir." And so it was interesting. They started to shift and adjust, and even in terms of the drama club, we became more conscious of being intentionally kind and softer and correction, because it becomes the norm. And then when you get to intimacy now, and especially even for Black men, how do you navigate that space? It's interesting. You see the internet go crazy over images of a father who are hugging their sons too tightly, and people the comments is like, okay, but this, and some things I immediately recognize it as, there's the beautiful one with the father kissing the son, kissing the father's forehead, and the father kissing the grandchild, and people went crazy. And I'm thinking, oh, so even that intimacy, especially among Black men, is not allowed. Yeah. And then what I like is you hear more and more cisgender heterosexual men talking about the need and the yearning for intimacy and creating it in their lives, and not just with their women but with their male friends.
Yeah.
So more and more Black men are saying we've been missing out, or
Exactly.
saying I'm having to learn how to be soft and how to be intimate and not feel like there's all of this. So a shift in the tide is happening.
Yeah, but I think, and maybe my friend groups are just different, and maybe they are, because even the friends that I had, because I went to all boys school as well, I went to Woolmer's, but the friends that I had, we came to that conclusion while we were at school, that these words are kind of destructive, and so we stopped. We started adjusting how we spoke to each other, how we dealt with each other,
Spirit.
and so we just didn't have that. And then even when I went to Berkeley, all the friends that I still have now, we are very intimate with each other. Like my friend from Sweden, from Puerto Rico, from wherever. We're close in a way that the things that we say to each other, we wouldn't say to nobody else.
Right.
And it's not. I mean, it's not anything that you should be concerned about.
Yeah. And
We're
it
just close.
generates a different kind of
Yeah,
energy.
we're just
It
close,
makes
and
different things possible.
it's not just with the male friends that I have, also with the
Yeah.
female friends that I have.
Yeah.
And so as I said before, we can not see each other for 10, 15 years. And
Yeah.
when we see each other, it's we just pick up from where we left off because we were that close,
Yes.
So
And so the relationships in this book, I just said service, the sex is pretty brutal, but then you also have the lashings, and the landscape is just this there's a thing. And so that's why that thing with the widow and the big jumped out at me when it happened, because I was like, oh my, there's something happening here that we haven't seen a lot of, because everything else is really kind of like in your face and hard, and in this land of Gibeah. I also was present to this would make a serious movie or a series, and it wouldn't be for everybody. Not everybody could manage,
and that's okay.
but
That's okay.
it would really make a serious series or a movie, because there's a lot going on.
So two things.
I'm sorry, Shauna seemed like she was trying to say something.
Go ahead, Sean.
Misinterpret.
No, well, I mean, I was trying to go back to the point you were saying about yourself in school. Well, I have noticed, talking to younger people, I'm sure Fabian will probably say yes. I find that there's a way that boys who went to all boys school when they're at school or with each other alone, allow themselves an intimacy that they do not allow themselves once they enter into the presence of girls or women extended. Especially some of the, cisgender heterosexual men. Like with each other, alone, very harsh but very soft.
Yes.
Once someone enters the room, this 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 level of man that is turned, I'm just like, this
Performative.
man, it's very performative,
Yes.
very very performative. So I think that was one of the points, and then oh god, now the ending point that I thought about something else as I think you were talking, Fabian, and no, we can't remember both. Yes, I agree. That's what had come to my mind actually. So
So,
yeah. Oh
so
yeah, no, definitely. I think better as a series this book.
mhm.
And I think considering how people watch series is now, I think I would prefer it as a series than the book. Maybe I don't know.
The thing with the junk road that you're talking about, Antonio, before,
Mm.
uh, I'm in two minds because I mean, growing up as a Jamaican, junk road just means death. That's what it means, generally. But then you also think of without the John part, the crow, which is a different thing. The crow can be mystical, can be magical, can be intelligence, can also be death. Can be spiritual. But the John Crow growing up, and I don't know. I mean, so I guess we've yet to discover. But John Crow growing up for us means one thing. It means death. It means consuming the dead. It means circling when there's
Carry on crew.
John Crows. Yeah. So that's
Imminent danger. It means imminent danger.
imminent danger. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And rotting
And
flesh. Something there.
Yeah.
Because there's something really powerful, and this comes back to me in this book. In Jamaica, when you see them flying in a circle, and even if you're far away, you know that's something dead nearby.
Something. Yeah.
It's a chilling thing, and but yet there's a beauty and a great because it's like they fly in a circle before they come down, before they pitch, and as Mike said, you kind of go, something dead nearby. So it's always this idea of death, and even if you can't smell the rotting flesh, it's nearby, and it's not a good thing. And they're also not a pretty looking bird.
Yes. I think the American name is what are they called? Turkey
Vulture?
buzzards. Turkey buzzards. That's why
Oh.
they look like turkeys. They kind of look
Oh,
like,
yeah, they do look like turkeys.
yeah, they're turkey
So,
buzzards.
so I mean, into that. So I mean, I wonder if he's also exploring that, you know, death is neither good nor bad. Like death doesn't
Just
take sides.
is. Mm.
Because
Just a watch.
yeah, like maybe because they seem to be supporting both sides when this danger is happening, right? But they don't seem to be like we're guarding this person or attacking this person, but we're bearing witness to his death, like we are in the air. Somebody going through this door,
And we're waiting on the flesh.
Right.
That man door be the truth none.
Wow.
So the other thing that occurred to me that I want to put to you guys is the apostle and the five. So now the five, we know that they owe their allegiance because he healed them in the beginning. And but now they just go along with everything. So they go along with it. I mean, mind you, when he was doing his little overture with Clarence, he kicked them all out. So it was just between him and Clarence. It was a feel up. But
Which is yeah.
right. So but it's just a weird dynamic. I mean, what's your take on that?
It's that messianic poly. Like
Obvious.
said,
Hello?
tell him to go
Okay,
to the house and tell him to bring a machete. Bring a
and tie
machete.
them.
Actually, tell him to bring a machete.
Yeah.
Just like yeah, and there's something in the cadence of the way his speech is written that has that this messianic. Because when he said you want healing, this is the healing you want. And the repetition, yeah, it's quite disturbing, but also very relevant and very real.
Yeah, I think it. Shona, were you gonna say something?
No, I was throwing sanity. I was just like, up here them. That's I was like, it's this as you said, Messiah. It's he can't do no wrong, do no wrong. It's up here, you know, up here them. He up here the whole church. That's the entire thing. I think the real demon we're gonna see at the end of it is upper church. Don't know, I may be wrong, I may be right.
That's what I feel too.
Um, yeah, man, when you see how the five, as you had said, transform, like, I was just like, this not safe, this not normal, this not nothing. It's very like he's under their spell.
Yeah.
And he do whatever he needed to do to just have them
Like when
in line.
vampires glamour
What?
people.
Yeah, man.
But Shauna, when you say he obeah them, what do you mean? Because I'm
Tie them, all of this, all of that.
Have them under spell.
Put them
Whatever
in his will.
spell he casted on them, whether through, so yes, we know you kind of beat people into submission, but there's way, in the same way when you have a religious fanatic leader and the church will follow them even into walking off a cliff. That's the feeling I walked away with the five. I find that whole intervention, as you guys were saying, very disturbing. And then, of course, so Clarence is clearly under spell. That's the feeling I get. So that's what I mean by Obi Antonia. There is some type of cast spell, morality thing, this otherworldly thing that has happened between him and the five.
And it comes, and like I said, like when vampires glamour people, or the zombification in Haiti.
But
Like I
also,
inject you with this thing that make you into, and you do my bidding.
but also, Antonio, there's a understanding about Obia that there are certain things you can do, whether it's with a piece of jewelry or with a bottle of
And
oil and
tie
other
you,
things to bind somebody to your will or to
put
your
your
whatever.
name on piece of
Right.
parchment
Or you
paper
put
and
certain
put it
thing in
on
the
a
food,
gravestone.
certain things in the food you feed them or whatever. You can tie them, which
Like
means they're
voodoo.
you know.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Or
well,
all the time people they say they set something, say, oh yeah man, him go off him head because them set something for him. And
yeah.
they
I'm
put
just trying to
everything near your
understand.
house or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand, like, because it can get quite tricky, right?
Mhm.
In terms of, so what is obeah? What is plant medicine? What is witchcraft? What is African spiritual practices? What is Christianity? Right? Like what? Like
And which version of it?
because all of it, what is satanic worship? What is
What is
somebody?
voodoo? What is Santeria? What is all of them?
Because they're not interchangeable.
No,
No.
but there are certain strains of each of them that have
Right.
certain things common among them.
Yeah.
There's certain mystical versions of Christianity that have some of the witchcraft stuff and have some of the other things. There's certain things with plant medicine that are common in voodoo or in other things. So I mean, and even among Kumina, Obia, and revivalism, there's certain common things too, and
Yeah.
certain common beliefs, and a lot of things that are different as well.
And then there's some
But
people who tell you who use people who do obia, who tell that there are people who practice obia who do not hurt people.
Right.
And they don't do that.
Yeah.
And if you want that, go 2 yards down.
To the next one.
Because I don't do that. Yeah.
Because it's interesting because in his writing, in how he makes some delineations between what is happening, right? So when he talked about Night Lucinda, when he talked about Obia and her mother, he framed it in a very specific kind of way, using certain tools and modalities and times in which this work was done. And then when it comes to the apostle, he's a little more nebulous. Like he doesn't really go into the tools outside of these books.
Yeah, I feel like he's keeping it more mysterious for now.
Do you know what I mean? And it makes me think about like what happens in just sort of group thought when there is a powerful leader who has convinced them that the world is flat, right? So we saw it with Hitler. We see it currently in the U.S. with the ex-president, right? Like we see it, kind of like these powers with some of these global things are happening in various countries where you have a strong ideology
Mm-hmm.
Right. Hmm.
that people just grab onto and like as if their life depended on it. And I
Right.
Yeah.
think the thing with the five, to bring it back to that in particular, I think for them, it's something about feeling like you are close to the seat of power,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
right? Like he healed them. Like
If I
he
could
had these
just touch the
afflictions.
hem of his garment.
Like I'm gonna live my entire life
Mm.
than the man that I should be according to the society and culture. And
Right.
this person has removed all those barriers. I am unburdened by those things. I am made whole and new. Something miraculous has happened.
I'm indebted to you.
Right? And he didn't use any of the things that I would associate with the supernatural.
Right.
Right.
So
That
this
you know
gotta
of.
be from this book. This
You
gotta
know
be
of. Right.
he has to be a man of God.
Yeah.
Or something.
Or
Yeah.
something, right? But I mean, they don't seem to understand. They don't seem to see the demonic nature of any of his
No.
actions.
Right.
I
Yeah.
need a help because I was listening to, at one point I was listening to the audiobook and multitasking,
Hmm.
and I missed something.
Mm.
Church pop down on somebody get pulled out a rubble. What what happened? Because when I became present to the annoying narrator thing, somebody, I think the widow was pulling somebody out of
But
rubble.
listen, because there was an epic battle that
Epic.
happened.
Missed the epic battle.
Yes,
The room and him, yeah, man, you need to go back and listen to that.
That's why they were. That's why they were in
This was
recovery.
after the feel up, right? This was after the
No,
feel
this
up.
was before. No,
What? It was
this was
before?
before the feel up. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Apostle
chapter?
and the rum preacher had a knockdown, drag out something.
That's why they were. That's why they. That's why they were being. They were taking days to heal after that.
Yeah.
I have to go back.
Yes. Yes.
I was working as at Susie's, and I said, "Wait, what pulling body?" And then and I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
I
You
have
have
to
to
go
go
back.
back.
I have to go back.
Epic is the
Yeah.
correct word, Antonio.
But it's
Okay.
interesting, he did give more time and attention to the healing than to the battle itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the healing part really wasn't about them, it was about the women.
Man.
About the woman. Yes.
So
Yes.
they couldn't have healed without those women. Like they did
Mm.
the things to protect those bodies and bring them back to life.
All right. I have to go do a re-listen.
We have 3 minutes till the end. This went by pretty quickly.
Very
It did.
What a lot to talk about.
Indeed.
Wait, what chapter did we get up to? Hold on.
Mr. James, I'm going with
We got up to 20. So we're going 20 to 21 to 25, I think.
Mr. James. Oh, so the other thing. Does anybody remember the ritual killing of the animals?
Yes.
How the first cow did hard for mercy.
Oh, wait, no, we don't get there yet.
What, oh, did I? Am I?
That's
Oh,
21.
sorry.
That's
Oh,
21.
sorry.
That's 21.
Yes.
That's cloven feet. That's 21.
Yes.
Yes.
Animals must be killed.
That's coming up. Yes.
Mercy.
So Lucinda, the recovery, and then the healing.
Yes,
So next time we're doing 21 to
25. Or you want to do the rest of the book? What do you want to do?
mm,
21 to 25. Okay, I heard that, Fabian.
and then 25 to
Huh?
And then 25 to what? What's it? How much?
And I
What's
think
the
just two more things. So Fabian, you have to get in touch with Marlon and see if we can do a
yeah.
so
thingy
after 25 will be 25 to 20,
to the end.
which is
Which is like 27.
27.
Yeah,
Oh,
31. Yeah, 25 to 31. Let me double check.
oh, 31. Oh, okay.
Oh no, that's a whole other episode then. Yeah.
So 21 to 25 next time. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's 4 episodes before we close out. Yeah.
And then 21 is Jubilee.
21. No, 21 is cloven feet. So we're going 21 to 25, then 26 to 31 after that.
Okay. So 2 more.
Yeah. So talk to Marlon and see.
I will reach out to him again.
1 second.
But until they say, what is going on?
So no, sir. So
Oh, we have
Jubilee,
30 seconds.
Leviticus.
Leviticus was 16. No, remember. Jubilee was 20.
And Leviticus is 21.
No, cloven feet is 21.
You said Jubilee was 20.
Oh, hold on, let me double check. 1 second. I know that
hold up your
21.
hold up your book, Antonio. Michael, hold up yours.
Same book.
Should be the same. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay. So Leviticus is 22. I'm sorry. No, you
man.
said cloven feet is 22.
Cloven feet is 21.
Yeah, I passed the cloven feet and I'm at 22.
Right.
So I think cloven feet is 21. Yeah.
All right.
All right, it's 8 p.m. Lovely people.
It has been.
I'm so glad we could all assemble today.
Indeed.
And see you all in. Well, we'll talk as usual, but the rest of the world will see us together in 2 weeks.
All right.
Blessings.
All right.
Bye, my love.
Bye.
All right.